Hi everyone, welcome to the third week of the quarter at Skagit Valley College. I hope that you're enjoying your fall so far. I know that this week we are looking at quite a bit of rain, and on Monday we are going to be, and if you're watching this probably will have already, gone on our brief walking tour of campus with Donovan Tate. That's going to be a really important opportunity for you to get to know the campus from a visual perspective. So for those of you who are visual, spatial learners, or bodily kinesthetic learners, or interpersonal learners, if you didn't attend that, make sure that you set up a private appointment with Donovan Tate in the information desk at the Cardinal Student Center so that you can go on that tour. Today we're very briefly going to be talking about getting engaged in college, and when I say getting engaged in college, I don't mean planning to be wed while you're in college. I mean getting engaged in the sense that you're feeling like you're connected to the institution on a deeper level. Meaning you don't just come to class and then go home. You come to class, you feel like you're a part of the community, and when you go home you still identify as a college student in some way, shape, or form. It's really critical to your success that you find some way to get engaged in college outside of your classes. It may not always be possible given your time constraints, but hopefully you will feel in some way, shape, or form that you are a part of the campus in a way that's more than just a student getting a degree. So getting engaged in college is all about student engagement theory. We also like to talk about student development theory, but we won't go into too much detail there. Student engagement theory basically says that your ability to feel good about your learning in the classroom has a lot to do with how you feel as a student on campus outside of the classroom. A couple of you had mentioned that you have only taken online classes up to this point, or that most of your classes are and will continue to be online. That's totally okay. You can still be engaged as a student on campus just from a virtual perspective. But for the rest of you who are going to be on campus at least a couple of hours a week, you may want to consider some other opportunities outside of your classes that will help you feel more connected to the college campus. The first and most obvious should be meeting other people, finding other students who have a similar interest as you, maybe have a similar background as you, or maybe have a different interest or different background that you're interested in exploring. Another way to get engaged is to actually access some of the resources we've already talked about in class. Those resources are there most of the time not as a requirement. Some cases you might have to go to the library, in some cases you might have to go to a student program or to the TRIO tutoring or to the counseling center. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to be on your own time, and you're going to have to find a way to make that work for you. Now, none of those resources are required. So if you do access them, you're doing so because you've identified a need within yourself to access the service they provide. But there should be a deeper reason for that accessing of that resource, and that's really just to feel like you understand what that resource is about and how in the future you can use that resource at a later time. So getting to know the staff and the faculty in each of those resource offices, and also the faculty in your program, really going to help you in the long term, even if you don't feel like you need it right now. Engagement is really connected to motivation, and we talked about this the first week in the online lecture. Your motivation as a college student is defined by you. Your motivation to succeed as a college student is defined by you. But your motivation to be a part of the campus community is also defined by you, and these things might not always equate to one another. For example, your reason for going to college may have been because your parents told you to. Your reason for doing well in college may be because when you got here you realized you were able to do well in college, and so you want to succeed and get a really high grade in all of your classes. But then their motivation to be a college student is something that could be completely different. It's still possible to get A's in all of your classes without ever spending any time on campus outside of class. But when you leave Skagit Valley College, you may not necessarily feel like you are or ever were a cardinal, a member of a community of learners. When you go to a job interview, the fact that you have an associate's degree or professional certification from Skagit Valley College may not really mean anything to you. And that's not necessarily a good thing. So what we want to do is help you find a way to use the motivation that you have to succeed in college and connect it with some other outside resource or activity that will help you be successful here overall. When we call upon your deeper motivation, we really want to find a way to link your classes with the outside world. And what that's called is co-curricular learning or co-curricular education. You may have heard of extracurricular activities, and those do exist. But co-curricular activities are something that's a little bit more intentional. It's not just going to ballet class after class or going to guitar lessons after class, because those things may not necessarily be related to your motivation to succeed in college. They also may not be related to your personal learning styles. So a co-curricular learning experience is something that is connected to your college experience in some way, shape, or form. So going back to the guitar lessons example, if you have musical learning as one of your learning styles, but you're in math classes and English classes and classes that don't necessarily relate to that learning style directly, going to that guitar lesson may actually help you release some of this energy that's built up in your mind and help you connect with that part of your brain that's clearly dominant. Okay? That will allow the rest of your brain to work a little bit better. It's massaging your brain. Using your brain in any way, shape, or form helps your overall thinking and learning style improve. If we think about a study group or going to see a college instructor during his or her office hours, or maybe going to see a show at McIntyre Hall, these things bring you onto campus, either in person or virtually, in a way that lets you feel like, I'm not in class right now, I don't have any requirements to be here, but I'm enjoying myself and I'm having fun. That goes back to reinforcement theory. Reinforcement theory meaning you're positively reinforcing your experience on campus, or your experience interacting with instructors, or your experience interacting with other students, and helps you feel better about being on campus or interacting with instructors or interacting with classes later on in your college career, in a formal way that receives grades and has assignments and things like that. It may seem silly, but honestly, when you're able to make yourself have fun on campus, your classes will be more fun. Going back to learning styles, again, this is going to be drilled into you every week, and it's something most of you probably already fully understand. Everyone learns differently. Your learning styles are not good and your learning styles are not bad. They just are. And they're a part of who you are. They'll change over time. They'll change with practice. They'll alter in each of your classes, and you'll have to adjust for that. The same is true for engagement. Everyone's interested in different things. You have different passions that are inside and outside of the classroom. So when you find that your interests don't always match up with your classes, it's really important to find those things that do relate to your interests for a multiple reason for multiple reasons that might connect you to campus in a positive way. So when we were talking about calendars and using your calendars, remember that scheduling your time is about finding a way to balance all of the different identities that you juggle every day. Your identity as a college student should not outweigh your identity as a mother or as a brother or as a friend or as a gamer or as an athlete. All of these things should be weighted in some way, shape, or form based off of your values and your needs. So when we talk about finding the co-curricular activities that meet your needs and that help you find that balance, it's all about identifying the time that you have and the time you're willing to set aside to connect with the campus in that way. If all of your time is spent in classes you're not interested in, you're going to need to find something on campus and allow yourself some time to be a part of campus in something you are interested in. Otherwise, you'll lose your motivation and your classes will suffer. So this is just a list of ways you can get engaged. Clubs, study groups, student government, student employment, volunteering, attending campus activities, getting to know people in your classes, going to faculty office hours, going to the counseling center and just having a chat with a trained counselor, going to financial aid and just making sure that everything is set. These are ways to get engaged in college. Some of them may be more fun for you than others, but all of them lead to you having a holistically well-balanced student identity. So you might be asking yourself, okay, great, so I could just go to a club meeting and maybe everything will be better. No, that's not the case. You really need to think about what it is that's going to keep you on campus or keep you engaged until the end of your college career. Many, many, many community college students drop out after their first quarter, several more after their first year. So you should care about feeling like a college student and feeling prepared to end this year strong. I do not want to see any of you end your college career earlier than you need to. So, speaking of needs, you should care because it is a need that you have, believe it or not. So let's talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs again. I briefly went over it in our first or second week lecture. I didn't do a great job of explaining what it meant, but that was intentional because I knew we were going over it today. Maslow's hierarchy of needs looks like this. And remember that even though it's shaped like a triangle or a pyramid, it's actually a staircase. The bottom stair, or the physiological needs that people have, food, water, shelter, warmth, wellness, health, those sorts of things, they have to be satisfied, even in just a basic way, in order for you to achieve any higher level need, or even to pursue any higher level need. If you're hungry and you're not able to feed yourself, you are not able to focus on your ability to be loved, or your ability to feel good about yourself, or your ability to pursue intellectual self-discovery. You just won't be able to. You'll be far too distracted with meeting a physiological need. Similarly, if you've met all your physiological needs and now you're in a place that's just really unsafe, maybe you have some domestic violence history, okay, or maybe there's a stalking issue that's happened in your past, or perhaps you're in a neighborhood that's just had a lot of violence recently. These are all safety needs that are not being met. And so ultimately you're going to be distracted in some way, shape, or form before you're able to pursue those other 3 higher level needs. When we talk about being engaged on campus, engagement is a luxury. It is not a physiological need. It's typically not a safety need, but it could be a belonging and love need, a self-esteem need, and it certainly is a self-actualization need. Eventually, you're going to have some engagement in college to be able to achieve the top tier need, which should be a goal for all of you. Ultimately, where it fits in those top 3 needs is going to be up to you. Is it about meeting other people and feeling like you're a part of a community, or is it about feeling good and respected for yourself? Or is it about just pursuing your creativity and your interests outside of the world of needs? Again, many of you are going to be focused on the bottom 2 or 3 needs, and that's okay. But for those of you who have the luxury of going beyond that, really pursue these resources and activities because they will help you get to the top tier need faster and with more satisfaction in your college experience. So the bottom line of this whole lecture and this whole week really is all about getting you out there, meeting new people, and being a part of a campus community. If you have a family, bring them to a movie night, bring them to a game night. If you have friends who are thinking about going to college and aren't really sure if it's right for them, bring them on, take them to lunch. Let them study with you in the library or sit with you and read a book. Bringing a part of yourself to campus helps you feel like you're a part of campus. It doesn't take a big rah-rah football team for you to feel some school spirit here. And ultimately, that school spirit is what's going to help you feel like your time here and the money you spent and the time and energy you spent here was actually valuable to you. Even if you're in a professional technical degree program and you're here specifically to get a job, or if you're in a worker retraining program or something like that, and you're here specifically because you want the skills necessary to get a job, there's going to be something outside of your academic experience that's going to bring you value. And it may be as simple as joining a club and putting it on your resume. So I hope you feel like you are inspired to go out and be a part of the campus. If you don't, I want you to really question, is Skagit Valley College the right place for me? Am I in the right place at this point in my life? For some of you, the answer is going to be no, and after this quarter, you'll probably find other things you're going to need to spend your time on. But for the rest of you, please stay engaged. Please stay motivated in the college campus community. It's an important part of your experience, and it will help you get to where you want to be in the end. I haven't been showing you my sources. I should be. They're on all of my presentations. But please remember that these are academically researched theories and ideas. I'm not bringing anything to you as a requirement of this course or of any course, but I'm bringing these things to you as tips and tricks that you can use to be successful in college. I hope that you use them. I hope that you actually go out and be a contributing member of our campus. But in the end, that's a decision you have to make. Next week, we are going to be talking about something very different, and that is information literacy. And information literacy is about finding and connecting ideas to pre-researched ideas. So if you look in your syllabus, next Monday, the 14th, we are going to be talking about note-taking techniques, which is the entryway into information literacy. Information literacy is a part that's going to be held in the library, and I'll talk about that next Monday. But note-taking techniques are an important part of your ability to feel like you're really retaining information in a class. Not everyone is going to be good at taking notes or feel it's particularly useful, but all of you can find it useful with practice. I also want to encourage you to please go onto the discussion board as soon as you're done with this lecture and complete the assignment, just so you have it done. But if you don't have time right now, please don't forget it. I noticed a lot of people have forgotten about the discussion board post the first week and particularly the second week. I don't want that to be a habit you get into, so please remember to respond to the discussion boards. You'll find they're very, very simple to do, but they should be helpful for you in terms of articulating your reflection of this class. I will see you all on Monday, and I hope that you have a good week. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.